more specifics there, whatever you guys really kind of want to lead us in that direction. What we're not going to do is we're not going to throw out a sales link at the end. We will spend a minute or two going over what decision maker meetings is. Otherwise, that'll be the entire Q&A. Like, what are you guys doing? Can you help me? So we'll go over that. And we'll do that for a few minutes at the end. But like I said, there won't be a link. We'll just tell you how you can reach out to us if you're interested. And then the ball's in your courts and you can do that on your own. Also, we're going to be giving away one of our paid resources for free. So be sure to stay through the end. We're going to actually give away the cold message templates that we give our clients normally to for them to reach out and book meetings. So we're just going to break down how that goes. And you guys will have that on hand. So let's dive in. So what we're going to do today, agenda for the next 45 minutes or so, is show you how to book meetings with high-level decision makers. So we're talking, film financiers, executives, producers, agents, showrunners, studio people, talent. And we're going to break this down literally step by step. And when we first did this a little under a year ago, about 9 months ago, it was kind of new for both of us, sort of the application of these techniques. Now we've done this a lot, and we've worked with, Mara, you always remember, how many clients?
I've coached 323 filmmakers in the last year.
Specific. Okay, awesome. And then the meetings, each person is getting the lowest is 10 meetings that we've had. We have 100% success rate with people getting these meetings. So between 10 and 20 people, what is that math wise? Let's say 5,000-ish meetings over the last.
On a very conservative number.
Yeah. So we're going to show you how you do it. And this session too, this isn't like a fluffy seminar. We're going to go over these fundamentals. We have had people literally, I think I said this out in an email, book meetings and nail meetings from just this workshop. We had someone named Linda who did it the same day. So this is going to be, like I said, actual, actionable stuff. All right. So before we get into this info, just a quick background on the two of us, so you know who the hell we are. My name's, again, Justin Giddings, and I am a classically trained actor, actually, conservatory, all that. Worked in Los Angeles for 12, 13 years. I was on shows like Pretty Little Liars and Shameless. I did guest stars and series regs and all this kind of stuff. But the thing for me was that no matter how big the gig was, it always felt like I was somebody else was in control of my career. I had to get permission to be creative, particularly as an actor. 10 people got to say yes. So I was on a show, it was a series reg. It was the big, Mom, I've made it. I'll be famous, Mom. And then it got canceled. And I turned to my co-star. I was like, dude, we got to start writing. We got to be a little bit more in charge. So we wrote some stuff, ended up crowdfunding for them and raised about $100,000 for 2 short films. And then when those films did well, I sort of realized, I was like, oh shit, I can green light myself. I don't have to wait for other people to green light me. I can do myself. So now I help filmmakers crowdfund. I've helped my people raise about $9 million. My shorts have collectively over 3 million views on YouTube. I've been to 100 festivals and won Best of Fests. I know a lot of you come from Film Independent. I'm actually teaching festival strategy at Film Independent May 24th. So coming up here soon. And my script, The Peregrine, won the Slam Dance Screenplay Competition. So I'm a working filmmaker who was in that position of feeling like I've got no power. And then I realized I actually did have the power. But then I met Mara, and then my career has moved faster in these last 9 months than it had previous 5 years, which was moving pretty damn fast. And so that's how we hooked up. So Mara, why don't you just, again, introduce yourself, a little bit of your background so the people know who you are.
Thank you, Justin. It's so good.
You're welcome.
It's so fun. It's so fun to be here. So my name is Mara McCann. Anybody that's joining now, hello, welcome to hanging out with us for the next hour. So currently I'm in Manhattan. My background has been in the tech world, strategic partnerships at one of the big innovation labs in New York for over 15 years. And so my kind of background was all about taking ideas from startups and matching them to the people that have the money to make that startup happen. And that has been my grown-up career. And so kind of my story goes back to, you know, the start of COVID, and COVID hit and we all had to pivot. And my pivot was, I don't really want to be working in the startup world anymore. I'm an actress. I'm a writer, and I wanted to produce stuff. I want to just focus on my entertainment career. And like a smart business person, whenever you get a new business idea, pretty much you panic and you freak out, right? This is typical of like business. I get a new idea and then you panic and freak out. How am I going to do that thing? And I looked at myself, and I was looking at all my other industry friends, and it was the start of COVID, and everybody's careers were falling apart. And then I had this moment when I realized, wait a minute, I will just do what I've always done, which is book meetings with high-level decision makers. That's what I've been doing in the tech world for 15 years, is like get the startup, find the VC, we make the deal happen, and that's it. So I took a deep breath, and that's what I started doing. And so I just want to share with you what happened in just a year. So just in this past year, which has been just a beautiful, wild ride. When you bet on yourself, amazing things happen. Meanwhile, you know, you survive those panic attacks, as you all know. So what's happened this last year is right now I am actually attached to star in a script that Mark Ruffalo is considering right now. I'm the EP of a film with an Oscar-nominated writer. I have direct development and investment contacts with A24, NBC, Hulu, BBC, and I'm also part of a group with an international investment fund that's actually actively looking for projects in the United States to invest in. And I didn't think that was possible because I have a really small IMDb. I haven't won any film festival awards, and I don't have a resume. That makes sense. But what I did do was I knew how to book meetings with high-level decision makers and go to the top. So then what I did this last year is I coached over 300 filmmakers to do just that. And I've actually got this down to a science where I can show you how to do what I did in 6 weeks. We're going to give you the best 3 strategies. But that's why we're here today, is to tell you how to do this.
Cool. All right. Sweet. Let us dive into the
it's been a wild ride of a year, I must say.
I know. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's actually too why this is our last doing this, actually, which some of you might have gotten in an email. Okay, so here are the 3 strategies we want to cover today, right? Strategy number 1, the number 1 overlooked tool that will help you find and connect and book meetings with these high-level industry decision makers. Strategy number 2 is how not to fuck up the meeting, waste time, or come off as unprofessional. This is actually you guys filling out those surveys. A lot of you did that. So we kind of shifted gears actually to make strategy 2 work for you. So thank you. And then strategy 3 is why it's not about who you know. Or whether you have a long, impressive resume with tons of experience and projects and awards and this massive IMDb and all this kind of stuff. So let's dive into strategy number 1. Strategy number one overlooked tool that will help you find, connect, and book meetings with these decision makers. So,
and you guys, we do go pretty fast. So just like follow the ride, okay? Because we want to give you as much impact as humanly possible. So
that's a good point. We're really going to try to cover a ton. This will be recorded. We'll send it out to you as a recording, so you can let it wash over you. But again, we'll do a Q&A so we can get into specifics. But we will move fast. But I promise we'll answer your questions. Okay, so in the past, right? How did you meet people? It was networking, right? And I personally hate that word a lot because it was a ton of work that netted me nothing. I mean, I would have stacks and stacks of business cards after film festivals and AFM or whatever. And like, I don't have any relationship with those people really. Because think about it, you know, these events, these meetups, you know, casting director, producer workshops, festivals, parties. I mean, all too often you just, like I said, walk away with a stack of business cards, but there's no real connection there. And you're kind of like fumbling in the dark with people who are in sort of the similar stage of your career, who are also sort of fumbling in the dark. And Mara, this was your experience out of the gate too, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I remember right before COVID, you know, I really wanted to move my life out of the startup world. So I did it what everybody else was telling me to do. So I went to AFM, I went to Sundance, you know, I got invited to some cool like parties in the Hollywood Hills. I did that thing. But then it turned out that none of those people that I met, like I have that stack of business cards in my drawer, which was, I'm supposed to get to that during COVID, right? All those things that we were supposed to do during COVID. none of those people are the people that I'm working with on all those projects I just told you about that are legit, you know? So I found it mesmerizing that even doing the stuff that people told me to do, right? It's just like, you know, go to these parties, do that thing. Like I got hooked in with whoever that next, you know, independent producer that I should meet was, but that didn't lead me to getting my projects done and into the pipeline of sales. Didn't happen.
Right. And that's kind of the whole point. So even if you're good at networking or you're you know, we have like business backgrounds, right? Like, so even when you're good at that, you're again, you're just kind of milling around. So that brings us to our tool. There's this magical place that you've all heard about. Actually, it's like what? Where industry executives hang out literally for the sole purpose of connecting with content creators and filmmakers and talent like you guys. Mara, what is that place?
It's LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn?
And why? Why is the better thing? You know that it's LinkedIn, but why is it better and how to use it? So hang out with me because you're going to start asking that, and I'm going to answer all that. So, but why? Why is LinkedIn the place, right? So we have these magical things that LinkedIn allows you to do to make it your human pitch deck. And let's talk about that, Justin.
Yeah, great. Let's get these pieces up. So we said step by step. Here are literally the steps. Because the thing about LinkedIn is that in the tech world, even billionaire CEOs, right? Like they literally have introductory meetings. They make themselves available for that because that's where opportunities come from. And industry people are the exact same way. And we don't know this. At least for me, I always thought it was like a social media network for like corporate people. And it's not. It's neither a social media network nor is it just for corporate people. So let's break down the steps. So the very first step is your profile. And this is because your profile is like a pitch deck. When you customize your profile to reflect your vision, the people you're attracting to you resonate with that vision. You want to expound on that, Mara?
I do. So think of your profile. I think Justin just said it, but your profile, you set it up to mimic what you want to build. Okay. Back in the old days, that profile was about your past, kind of like a CV of the old days, right? It's not what it is today. Okay. LinkedIn, the platform has changed so much, but change for the better of us who are filmmakers and storytellers and content creators, right? So it's a difference of 10 years ago, you were like, well, wait a minute, it did this. Yeah, that was 10 years ago. Today is different. So when you take a look at your profile, just by changing your profile, and we're going to tell you guys about some of the wins that we've had, but the profile is the first thing because you can make that match the brand of you in an authentic way that matches the vision and mission of who you are, the projects that you have. And when you clearly state that, right, which is what I've been training people to do, which I did myself on my own profile. I totally changed my profiles. Like now I'm like, you know, chatting with the head of originals at Roku, but that was because I've been working on this for a few months. But changing your profile, what's been really cool is that we had one of our filmmakers just after changing his profile. Do you want to tell the story about Robbie?
I love when you tell the stories because you get so excited. So Robbie Bryan.
So Robbie Bryan, he's a filmmaker. And I asked Robbie when we first met, I said, what do you want to do? And he's like, hey, I want to have to stop always being a producer director. And I just want to be a director. Right. And I know that you guys can relate to that. And I said, okay, so we changed up his profile. And a few weeks later, he calls me. He's like, Mara, you're never going to believe this, but I just got somebody reached out to me. Okay, this is fun, right? Somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn, needed a director for their new, it's a book adaptation. And guess who's in it? Oprah Winfrey is in that screenplay. And I was like, what? But that's because the AI is so good. Right? AI is so good. It's like our best friend. So when you start understanding that AI is your best friend and you program it to tell it who you are and what you want, it can start working for you, right? So profile is the first thing. That's super, super important. Next thing, engagement. Okay. Should I just keep on going here, Justin?
Yeah. You know what? You rock and roll. You've got your note cards. You kill it. Okay. I'll support you.
All right. And I'll remember to take out my bubble gum. I always forget to do that, but that's okay. That's all right. So engagement, what is engagement, right? So don't think of LinkedIn as social media. Okay. Just leave that aside. Okay. LinkedIn, it's a business platform. Think about business. Think about showing a bunch of other business people, 5 million entertainment executives on LinkedIn who you are. Okay. And I'm going to tell you in a second why that's insanely important. But engagement. So a colleague of mine, a lot of you might know him, Rampus Myrtle. He was doing some great posts. I helped him. I helped his team last year. And even just doing one post, another investor saw that post and invested in one of his projects. Right. That's so cool. Right. And he was just being his authentic self. He did like a Thankful Thursday post. And it wasn't even about fund my project. It was here's a post about somebody in my network who I really care about. And that got to another investor and they saw that, say, hey, I want to talk to you about what's going on. Right. So engagement is huge. I do live in Manhattan. I live near in between two hospitals. So that's what's going on.
You will hear ambulances. Yeah. So these are building on top of each other, right? You got your profile.
Yep,
get that nailed.
Profile, engagement.
Then you start engagement.
Search. And then you have search, right? This is all just on the simple LinkedIn. You don't even have to pay for the thing, right? So search, what happens in search? So another filmmaker that I work with, Kate Cordelou, she went in, she needed distribution. She sent out a cold message to a distribution person that didn't know her. It's her first film. She booked distribution just off using that search to find somebody that she needs, right? So this is way more fun than wandering around AFM, like in at that market, like way more fun.
Right. You can just type in distribution companies, distribution executives, and you're not, like you said, wandering around some lobby trying to hope you find the person who can.
Exactly, because it's targeted and it's strategic. Why are the people that I'm working with now on all those big projects, why is it happening? Because I targeted them. I was very strategic. I took what I know how to do in the tech world with startups. I just applied it to entertainment. Super simple, right? It's not any difference. Then we've got messaging, right? Then you can message, right? We get a lot of questions. Hang out till the end. We'll do Q&A because you guys are going to be like, what do I say to get them into the meeting, right? That's what we'll
tell you.
Do and what I want to tell you about. Messaging is amazing. So Priya, Misha, you guys can look at these profiles online. You can go to my LinkedIn. I have like a ton of people that, I've worked with. You can see it, you can see them as real people, but Priya wanted to get Jay Keegan, who is a writer on The Simpsons and multiple other shows, into a meeting. And she did. We worked on a message. She is not a famous writer. She's, a young upcoming writer director that I had been mentoring. And she reached out to him, messaged him, and they booked an hour-long meeting. And he was like, what are you working on? And he worked on a treatment with her. Can you imagine your dream writer taking time to do this, right? And I've done this multiple times with people. Then you have advanced search. So advanced search is really cool. Not everybody needs it, right? You're going to ask me that kind of stuff later. Not everybody needs to pay for the extra LinkedIn services. You can, if you're here and you have a production company, you should hang out because there's a lot of tools to use with the advanced search that will help you get more clients in the door. Okay, so back to advanced search. One of the fun things that happened with the, looking at my note card.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump in too. So advanced search, this is like Sales Navigator, having premium accounts. And really all that this does is it gives you greater specificity in your targeting, which allows you to get better results faster. So the advanced stuff is really just about speed. The free stuff is there. This allows you to go faster. For example, with Troy, we had a
So again, another fun example. So Troy Allen is a voiceover actor, and I said, "Who's the dream person that you want to get to?" And he's like, and we were playing on the advanced search, and then all of a sudden, Swampy Marsh, who was a creator of Phineas and Ferb, if you guys know that, and he's like, "Oh my God, if I could talk to Swampy Marsh, blah blah blah." So we did. We booked a meeting with him, and we did an hour-long meeting, and now again, somebody at the start of their career is in conversation with somebody that, can change your life forever type of moment, but done with a strategy, right? It's not like having to rush the stage. Like I was just at a big thing in Los Angeles, a big event, and, you try to rush the stage, right? And you're like, Pamela, will you please talk to me? It's horrible.
Do it. Can I have 30 seconds to try to convince you that I might be worth the time to,
that's horrible. And think about this is that we had Swampy for an hour on Zoom, not worried about where he's running to or if he's eat or not, or drinks or what, you know what I mean? So Zoom and COVID is one of the best things that happened in the entertainment world. We're all using it in the tech world before, but now we've got Zoom, right? It's our best friend. So we have advanced search. So then what happens, right? You're booking these cool meetings. Meetings are the best thing ever. Another one of our filmmakers, we were coaching him how to do better meetings. Like, all right, I get them. I found them. I'm there. They've got the time on the calendar. What do I say? And this was just a super cool win. But Tony was like, he had an investor give him $5,000. Actually, it was a development executive on the phone.
Like Venmo. He Venmo'd him.
While they're on the call,
right.
So a lot that we talk about, and I'm going to talk about that in the strategy 2 and 3, but when you get clear about that authentic vision and mission, it becomes easier for people to start helping you. We're going to talk more about that. But that's like another fun win of meetings. So all this up till here, all this, right? This is the basics. This is the basics of LinkedIn. Okay. And I'll take a picture of this so everybody gets it. This is the basics. But then what I realized, there's this beautiful thing in economics called network effect. Network effect is really cool, right? So what is network effect? Network effect is that when take a product or service, when more people know about a product or service, the more value it has. And I read this and I was like, this is so cool, right? So I'm an actress. I also I produce now, which is right. But if a product or service, the more people know about it, right, the more value it has. So I put my reel on LinkedIn, right? That was a really bold move, right? I've been in the tech world my whole life. And then I put my acting reel on LinkedIn. I was like, oh God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen now? And I'll tell you what happened. That's when all of a sudden, I get an offer from another, she's one of the top upcoming 7 female film directors. And she's like, I've got a role for you. Mark Ruffalo is reading a script right now. You want to read the script? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. My Oscar nominated writer friend, he's like, hey, I got a new script that there's a role for you, right? All of a sudden, by the nature, putting my reel on LinkedIn, a business platform where more people can see it, the value I have went up. It wasn't about my star meter on IMDb, which goes up and down, right? It wasn't about no film festival awards. Wasn't about that. Wasn't about my resume. The value increased on my acting and the fact that I can produce because I was on a business platform where more people can find me and more people can see me. How cool is that, right? So all of these steps, right? You can start walking now. You should pull up your LinkedIn right now while you're listening to me and start changing stuff, right? You should do that. That would be fun. All of this leads to the fact that then you increase your value. How cool is that on a business platform? So I don't know about you, but there is nothing worse. How I felt at the start of COVID about my acting career was horrible, right? The thing that you train your whole life to do, the thing that you dream about your whole life to do has no value is horrible. A year later, I book a ton of meetings. Sorry, once in a while I swear because I'm originally from Iowa and I try not to swear. But I book a ton of meetings, right? Book a lot of meetings. And all of a sudden now I am not for great roles. And it's insane, right? So that is a network effect. So I don't know about you, if you've ever felt that the thing that you dream about doing does not have the value it has, or it should have, right? Network effect is economics, and it's really then becomes basic math. How cool is that,
Yep.
Justin?
Yeah. I really love how you said basic math too, because we could do 2 hours, really, of both our clients and our own. I have an investor for a short film. Who gets invested? Like a legit, how does that happen? Right? It's really, really nuts how, and this is what blew my mind with meeting you, was because a lot of the stuff I kind of did naturally, just in the way, I would go to film independent and I would take classes and I would really work a relationship, but this is just fast and you're in 100% control because you just make the meetings. And when you have all those pieces right, it's almost too easy because I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words because it just works. You've clarified your vision and you've done the right content and you've done the right messaging. When you've done all those things, all of a sudden your presence is easy for people to say yes to. And then when you nail that meeting and you nail that relationship and you cultivate that, which we're about to get to in a second on how to do that, it's just well, great, do that 100 times, do that 10 times, and you're going to get your career measurably moved forward. So we know this path has worked. It's worked hundreds of times, 100% success rate. It's worked for us. And if you take nothing, if you do nothing else with us for the rest of your life, even just understanding these steps and how they build on each other will help move your stuff forward. So let's get into strategy number 2. Looking at time. Oh, we're doing good on time too. Good, great. More Q&A. Strategy number 2. By the way, I have no problem cussing. I'm a sailor, so sorry if it's bothersome. How not to fuck up the meeting, waste time, or come off as unprofessional. And we sent out that, I sent out that survey yesterday, right? Most of you, I think, would have got it. And I'm so glad, by the way, quick side note, thank you everybody who filled it out. Because we had actually been working on sort of a different strategy too. We're like, maybe there's another piece here we want to focus on. But over and over, we saw this same concern pop up, which was, I don't want to come off as unprofessional. I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to burn a bridge. I don't want to get on their blacklist. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, and like, because I'm not ready or something. And now I've like screwed myself, right? Like basically screwing it up was the concern, not rejection. Y'all can handle rejection. I think if we're going to be in an entertainment creative field, we all better be good at rejection. But it was like messing it up when it was something you maybe could have known ahead of time and thus not mess it up. And I've got bad news for you. You're going to absolutely screw it up if you go into these meetings to pitch. So, Mara, I think on the board, we've got pitch and pray. Sorry, I moved over to my notes. Because here's the thing about pitching. When you pitch, you've set yourself up for failure because you only get one shot to get a binary answer, yes or no, or a maybe, I guess, given to you only by one person who's there to try to represent an entire company, which is not possible. And if it's a no, you are not getting a second meeting on that project, right? So no wonder you're terrified. No wonder everybody's like, man, I'm afraid of screwing us. I'm afraid of burning bridges, blah, blah. Because that's pretty high stakes. So instead of pitching, yes. Mara, what do we teach?
So what you guys want to do, conversation.
To the quick question that came up, yeah, this will be recorded and we'll send this in the chat. Yeah.
Instead, have a conversation. It was the first thing when I came into working with filmmakers, not just as an actress, but as a strategist. And I thought it was the craziest thing that I ever heard of. I was like, you're going to walk in and pitch and leave. This is not how it works in the tech world. It doesn't ever work that way, right? If you don't get that yes or no that you want the relationship. That's what you want, right? Because the business is built on relationships, especially the entertainment business. Most businesses, all industries are, but especially ours, right? So what I've found is that, I'll tell people strategy 1, do these things, right? And they're like, well, wait, I'm scared to do that because I'm going to mess this meeting up, right? These things are going to happen. Well, yeah, you are going to waste their time and you're going to come off as unprofessional if you go in there just to pitch. Now, if you're a sales agent, that's a different story, right? Sales agents who are on this call, I will have a different talk with you, okay? Because it's about relationships. But I thought of this thing is like, it's like you're going to go in a pitch and then you pray and then you wait, and that's like horrible. That's right up there with like auditioning and waiting is horrible. It's not a good plan, right? But instead, when you go in to have a conversation that is meaningful about some type of business strategy. So to give you an example, there's a lovely person that is in we have a coaching group, our current coaching group. And she was getting ready. This just happened last week. It was kind of mesmerizing. We're in the coaching group and Dina comes and she's like, I have a meeting in 15 minutes with a big executive. And I said, oh, great. Like we can help you get ready for this meeting, right? And she had booked it on another platform where, those other platforms that exist where you can book your 10-minute slots, right? Meet somebody for 10 minutes.
8-minute slot to pitch. That's literally what you purchased, was an 8-minute slot to pitch.
And I said, and we had Amish on the call. So Amish is our power strategist. So we had 3 of us. I said, well, did you research anything about her? And she's like, no, I've been too worried about my pitch. And as well, I would be too, right? With 8 minutes, like, what would you do? Right. So in that 8 minutes, we're like, don't go in and pitch. Don't do that. Here's what you're going to do instead. We did a little quick homework on this VP. Turns out that this VP was working on some new content, especially content that she could launch with different types of NFTs. And so she in under 15 minutes. So she went in instead, right? She did her meeting and we're like, okay, come back when that 8 minutes is over and let us know how it went, right? So she comes back, literally, you guys, like I have the recording of this just happened last Friday. She comes back and she's like, oh my God, that went so well. I didn't pitch her at all, because what we did was instead make a strategy of the content of Dina's film, how that related to the content that this VP was trying to launch into different NFTs, and told the story of that. Okay, you following me? She didn't go into pitch, right? That would be bad. She went in instead. She made a correlation between the story of what she was working on, the story of what the VP is also working on with some other content launches. We got all of that on the internet in under 5 minutes. And what the outcome of that meeting was that then that VP said, oh, would you please send me your deck? I would like to pass it on to my production partner, and then let's schedule a follow-up. So the thing that you really wanted happened. Why? Because she wanted to have a conversation about that other person's goals and visions, right? Should hang out for the Q&A, because I talk a lot about this now. It's something that I'm much as equally as excited as I am to talk to you about how to make your LinkedIn profile work. I am even more excited about how to make your meetings work, because it's about making that conversation. And here's how to do it, right? I think we have time. I can share this one other little.
I think we got time.
A beautiful tip, right? Because then you guys are all going to have power meetings right after that. Here's the beauty of how, when you go into a new meeting, right? That's my expertise, is taking a cold meeting, like people that don't know you, and making that a good relationship. I've done it for over 15 years. This is how to do it, right? When you're walking in, I feel like I'm giving away the farm.
Yeah, no, this is stuff go. I love it.
All right, you guys
the last
time you ever
do
like,
this, so go for it.
You know, like God's smiling today, or whatever you believe in, whatever it is that you believe in, God is smiling. All right. When you walk in, what you want to do, the journey of the thing that you really want to pitch, right? Of course, you really want to go in that meeting and pitch. Of course you do, right? You're not going to do that, right? Instead, the journey of that, right? The log line that you have, it's not the log line. Think about the human journey that goes on in that story. You can relate that human journey, right, to that other person in front of you and anything that they've ever done. Anything, right? I did this multiple times in meetings, and it started winning me. One director that's done over 30 network TV shows, I shared the human journey of what I play and related it back to the top 5 TV shows that he had most recently directed, and how that human journey that I play well as an actress fits into the world of these things he's already done. Boom. Right? It's killer. You guys should hang out with me more.
Yeah. It's not like these meetings are shooting the shit. I mean, you'll do a little bit of that, maybe, with sometimes. So it isn't like, just hanging out, but it's going in with the intentionality not to make yourself known in some way, or make your project known in as much as it is finding what are the ins that when you're listening to that other person talk, what are the ins? What are the little things that you're hearing that's like, ooh, I can speak to that. Ooh, I know what that is. I know where that lives in me. And when you've done research ahead of time and you've made your profile set up so that when they said yes to you, they also know what you're all about. Yeah. Well, then by the time you're sitting there talking to somebody, you're having an authentic conversation that isn't, and here's why my project is great, because I read a book once that told me how to save the cat, but you're actually having an interaction and an engagement about the industry. And now you're not some crazy writer or a big pain in the ass or somebody who's going to bug them or all the stuff you guys were worried about, right? That goes away because this industry is not transactional. It's just not. No, and neither is the tech industry. I mean, none of it is, right? People are going to support, and they're going to finance, and they're going to invest in, and they're going to advocate for people that they know and that they like and that they trust. So that's what this meeting is all about, because then you get to have multiple meetings. Even if your project isn't a good fit, that's never what it was about. And so even if they pass on that, you still have the relationship. The door is open there. A lot of our clients tell us they hear things like, hey, hit me up when you've got to this next, milestone in the project done, because I want to see the next draft. Or listen, if you've ever got anything else that's maybe more in alignment with what our company's doing here, please let me know. I'd really love to this talk. That's the kind of feedback that you're getting. So it isn't binary yes, no, and now that relationship's done, which is really actually burning a bridge. It's creating all those things.
A real human connection in a business fashion that will work, that's repeatable. You can repeat this over and over and over again, right? So that's the important thing. And that is the secret sauce. It's like, oh, I have a formula to repeat on how to connect to a high level creative. Yep. Over and over again. All right. But I know what's going on, because we've done this enough. I've coached enough filmmakers that I tell you how to make a great meeting. And then this other thing happens, right? We told you, how to make a profile that sells you as a business, right? How to do a meeting. And then this other thing happens, Justin.
Yeah, it's like, you're like, okay, this sounds great. I see how LinkedIn can help me do this as a tool.
Yeah.
I can see how having a conversation kind of takes those stakes out. But I can't personally do this because, or this won't work for me because I'm not established. I have no resume. My IMDb is really small. I'm not important. I haven't won anything. Why would anyone ever want to meet with me? Because if they did, they're going to be disappointed. So strategy number 3 is why it's not about, the who thing, or whether you have this long, impressive resume with a billion festival awards and all that kind of stuff. We've all heard the who, the email I sent out to a lot of people talked about that as well. That you got to be established or connected. Your mom's sister's goddaughter's aunts, is like a famous producer or something. Or this idea that you have to like prove yourself and put in the time. And it's just this very, very linear way of thinking. You have to do A before you can do B, then maybe someone will discover you, and then you get to do C. And just to cut right, like these are all myths. These are just myths. And worse off, these are myths created and propagated by mid-level, usually gatekeepers. They got to filter somehow. Their job is to filter out all the crazies and the wannabes. So they set up this kind of unwinnable game with rules that are really complicated, and that keeps everybody busy, right? You only got to do it this way and this way at this time through an agent. And that keeps their job easy and keeps you busy. But that's not what you're here for. I mean, you're not here to impress the gatekeepers or play little games. Like, you have a product and a creative vision. You wouldn't be here if you didn't believe in yourself, right? So you've got something, and decision makers want that something. They need that something. Their job is to find and develop and that something, right? So if you can show them that you have it, they don't really care about all that bullshit. They don't care. So how do you show them that you got it? We got a little acronym for you. CPR. I love you're writing it out. So a little CPR. I did this once. It might feel silly for some of you, but this is like deep stuff, right? Like this stuff is connected to your soul as an artist. Like we're talking business and that kind of stuff, but like at the end of the day, we're all artists. We all have this deep something inside of us that is trying to deconstruct the world or change the world, or just speak to the pain and the joy and the suffering of that is the human experience. And so like this is real. So I just want to take a quick second, Mara, if you're cool with this, and just like everybody take a deep breath together. And then we're going to regroup and talk about how we can solve this kind of final fundamental problem. Mara, is that cool? All right, let's all take a deep breath. Let it out. One more.
So nice.
Oh, good. I feel better too, actually. Okay.
How do
I
we
get so excited about this stuff too. It's easy to just.
How do we do this, right?
Yeah.
How do we do this? How do we do
First
this?
piece is clarity. So just to restate, right? This is the problem we're solving. How you can do all this without having to have this long, impressive resume. So the first thing is clarity. Clarity, particularly with your profile. Okay. What do you want to happen in the next 3 months?
It's a really powerful thing to actually stop and think about just one thing. This is always whenever I work with a new filmmaker, like just focus one thing you want to have happen, right?
Yeah.
Make your profile and your engagement, all this fun stuff, match that. And then how you not mess up that meeting, right? You're going to have a conversation, and how do you pull all that off? Because you get super clear about one thing, just one thing you want to have happen in the next 3 months, right?
Yeah, Mara, what do you want to happen in the next 3 months? What's your big one thing right now?
I want the chief people officer over at Vice Media, who lives in Brooklyn, that I've been stalking, to come onto my board for Every Girl. I'm building a teen girl media network. So I want her to come. I want Daisy to say yes.
Yeah.
To my board. It's very clear.
Yeah. I want to get the rest of the financing for my horror film, The Trestle. I had this film. It's been doing great. Got some money. Want to get that right. One thing. Mm-hmm. I'm really curious too, you guys, if you have the desire and courage to be vulnerable, like think for a second and maybe type in the chat just as some public accountability, even like, what is that one thing? Ooh, I want this 3 months, right? So then as Mara was saying, then you build your profile around that to reflect the clarity of your mission. Because now that you're clear, now you can take action. You know what to post. You know what types of clips and reels and articles and updates and social posts are going to be connected to that clarity. And then there's one final barrier. Your mind, right? This stuff that limits you, right? So R stands for release your limiting beliefs. What are you willing to let go of to make room for what you want? One more time. What are you willing to let go of to make room for what you want?
It's so powerful, Justin. It's so powerful. Justin and I were talking about this yesterday, and I was on a walk. I was by the cloisters, and where it's really beautiful, and there's this beautiful garden, and I thought about it. And what people don't talk about success, and they don't talk about like getting what you want, is the person that you have to stop being. You just have to stop. There's a lot of silliness, right? There's a lot of what I call baloney, right? You got to stop your baloney so you can do the thing that's right in front of you that's asking to be done, right? And so often, I first started coaching filmmakers last year, and I thought, oh, this is going to be so awesome. I'm going to show you how to do the thing, make the profile. I'm going to tell you what to do when you get to a meeting. It's going to be awesome. And then they just want to do the work. I'm like, what's wrong? I told you exactly what to do. Like, I've been doing it. I know a lot of people. What's going on? And all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't think I can, or, all this other stuff, right? You must let go of that. And that is the scary vulnerability that people do not talk enough about, right? And it's more than mindset. It's more powerful than mindset, because mindset is not enough. Mindset will get you about 6 months, and then you will fall apart. You fall on your ass. Like I can tell you from personal experience, mindset is about 6 months and then you will fall on your ass and you'll go, what do I do? And then you realize that everything else is just what you've been telling yourself, what you grew up with, all that. It is not true, right? It is not true. And you simply have to let go of that. Justin, what kind of things, what would you love to release so you can just go get the thing you want?
Well, I was curious. Did you have any of I know you've got some businessy stuff that we wrote down. Did you want to share some of those that you were?
Yeah. To right now, to get to the next things that I want to accomplish in the next 3 months, I need to let go of the fact that I can't just always trust my team to do what they say they're going to do. I have to let go of that. I have a brilliant team, and I have to let go of worrying about that at night. I got to let go that I got to bootstrap another 3 months. I do not. Santosh is right. Check.
Yeah, right.
I got to get let go of the fact that I need to keep working for other startups. I do not anymore. I'm in a new place now. I can focus all my time on Evergirl. I have to let go of that. I have to let go of a lot of identity that I built to get to where I am, to just work at this next thing. And this is a big thing I've learned a lot about success too, is that in a work with a lot of filmmakers, that most of the filmmakers I work with are mid-stage. You guys have had your wins, right? You've won your Emmy, you've got your Sundance screening. I hear this all the time. Like people that I've worked with, like 300 people, they're not beginning filmmakers. They're mid-stage. You need to pivot. And what's going on for you now, and I know this, is that the thing that you do really well to get you to the success you have is not always the skill that gets you to the next set of success. And this is the trickiest thing ever. It's sometimes that one beautiful thing. Like I remember having to work my way in the tech world, right? I was a worker. I came from nothing, but I knew how to work, right? It's a beautiful thing about being from Iowa. You know how to work. I came to New York. I'm like, okay, this is cool, right? I had to let go of that identity so I can do this other thing that's much more planful, that's much more thoughtful, that is much bigger than my wildest dreams, that keeps showing up, right? And showing up to that. So what I would ask you to do as you're listening, right, is that in getting clear about the thing you want, right? And you're going to make your profile, and you're going to do all these magical things that we just told you, right? Basic business sense. You're going to have to just release everything else. Because when you wake up and you let go of some of that stuff and you go, oh, okay, here we are. Let's do it.
Some of these limiting beliefs, they're just stories we're telling about ourselves too. They may not be beliefs about their careers. And
what are some things you want to look
at? Yeah. I mean, when we were talking about this, I was always reaching for career stuff because that's what we're talking about. But a lot of my limiting beliefs are I got to let go of my insecurities. I got to let go of the fact that I'm not living in Los Angeles anymore. I've got to let go of the fact that, there are days that my depression or anxiety make it hard for me to get out of bed, or my ADHD makes me like terribly unproductive while I've got, business partners waiting for me. I got to let go of the fact that my eating disorder presents a version of me to the world that isn't really reflective of what's going on inside. I've got to let go of the belief even that I am my own worst enemy. You were talking about mindset, and you're right. It's like, I have to let go of the fact that mindset is the thing. It's like, fuck your mindset. Like, show up and do the work, and do the work of letting these things go and getting clear on what you want, and building your profile and presence to reflect that. And then just stop listening to the stories that you're telling yourself. Mara, you have this great quote that I have like around my office. If you want different things to happen, you have to do different things. And that is like, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And I think if you can get that clarity, get the profile to reflect that clarity, and you can engage in the ongoing work of reframing the stories that you're telling yourself, and the beliefs that are limiting you, that ain't about mindset. That's some work. And when you do that, yeah, you get to show up, and your resume doesn't matter. Your IMDb doesn't matter. It's not about who you know, because you've created and worked on the things that actually matter to these decision makers. So yeah, if you want to, post maybe some of the, I was watching the chat, some of the amazing things that you guys were talking about, and so many of those things are actually really like you could accomplish that in less than 3 weeks, or yeah, actually in 3 weeks. I didn't misspeak. But maybe some of you guys have some limiting beliefs, and it would be helpful to like just get them out of you, and feel free to post them in the chat.
And it's a daily habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that daily stuff, but it's that generosity of spirit, right? We must be generous with ourselves in a different way to do the work that we want to do. Right? You must be generous in a different way towards yourself to do the thing that you want to do. But luckily, we have great actual practical strategies, right? That you can actually like execute and do. But it's a powerful process to actually get the thing you want. It has been a no joke roller coaster wild year for me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, really, Oscar nominated writer, you have a script for me with a role? Really? Okay, let's talk.
I guess that's happening.
And I don't have an agent, I don't have a manager, and those things can happen, in the real way. So, and it's not a rinky-dink role, I will mind add. It's a good role. So, lots of cool things like that.
It's again, it's like, oh, you have to have an agent and manager to be an actor. I mean, I was an actor for years and years and years. Right? That was the belief. And so I went to the workshops, and then I got one, and then I got a better one, then I got an A-list one. And in a year, you've had some roles that are as big, if not bigger, than my 12-year career. So like, kick ass. So let's recap these strategies.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So strategy 1, we talked about how the strategic use of LinkedIn carves a pretty straightforward path to meetings with decision makers, something that's systematic. Strategy number 2 was how having a conversation instead of pitching establishes your professionalism and keeps the door open for future meetings and personal referrals. And then strategy 3 was how to overcome these limiting beliefs that keep your voice silent by getting clarity on your vision and having your profile reflect that clarity. So now I'm sure some of you guys have questions, questions like, what exactly do I say in this meeting? How do I set up a good profile? What should I say in my introductory message? What tools and resources do I need to have ready? How do I create this engaging content? How do I follow up without being a pest? And this is where we can help. And so before we get into the Q&A, as we said at the very, very beginning, we're just going to break down what we do at decision maker meetings. 3-5 minutes, just literally break it down. There will be no sign up now at the end, no link for you to go to. We'll just tell you how you can get in touch with us. And if that's your jam, great. If not, you just hang out for a few minutes. We'll get to the Q&A. We'll get to the message template, that cold message template that can get you those meetings. And then depending on how much time we have, Mara, I'm down to just hang and like do some strategy jam and just solve people's problems after.
Why not? It's fun. It's a good day. It's a good day.
Okay, sweet. So,
you know what the Buddhists say? I was thinking about this last night. It's such a beautiful thing. Like, the Buddhists say it's a good day to die. I always love that, because it's like you've lived the best life each day. Like, I just love that. So yes,
Yeah,
yes, we
Stoics
should do
do that
that because it
too.
is a good day.
Memento mori. All right, cool. You guys can see all this stuff, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Cool. Let me move this around so I can do ye old slideshow. Mara, this looks good.
It is loading. There you go.
Okay, sweet. All right, let's break it down. Get into Q&A. All right, so decision maker meetings, it's broken up into 3 pieces. We have a course part of it, we have coaching, and then we have the community aspect, right? So first off, we're just going to break down what's in the course. It's broken up into modules. So first off, we have an orientation. This just helps you map out sort of that pathway, help you do some of that goal setting, basically. Module 1 is how to use attraction-based marketing to develop that presence. You're supercharging your online presence, your profile to attract the work that you want, even if you are brand new to the industry. Module 2 is finding, engaging, and connecting to influential industry decision makers. So authentically connecting with people who can actually help your project or career. And by the way, you guys might realize like this is kind of reflecting those LinkedIn steps, right? So like this is how you build upon the previous. Module 3, we've got advanced targeting and tracking to supercharge your results. This is just about speed, right? You're finding, you're engaging, you're developing these relationships at the highest level, but quickly. This is about speed and with your results there. Module 4 is cementing the network effect through these visionary meetings, and you build this powerfully influential network. It's ready to support you, even if you don't have the perfect project ready to go for them. And then module 5, this is a new module that we're creating just for you guys. And it's building the insert your name here dream team. So one of the things that we've learned over this time is that you need a team. This is a collaborative industry. So why isn't building your career also collaborative? So every movie has a long list of credits other than the written and directed by. So should your career. And this is all about bringing your creative vision to life with a professional team of collaborators, supporters, and advocates, how you find those people and bring them into your world. So that's that part. That's the course. Now we move into coaching. So it's a 6-week program. And this is going to actually be the last session that we do like this. Weeks 1 through 3, we really focus on the training. So we're reviewing the material. We're learning about your specific goals and challenges. We're, any updates or new techniques. Everything's recorded and archived. This is just making sure that the information that you're seeing in the course is actually integrated. Then we move to execution. So we're finalizing your messaging and your meeting strategy. We're reviewing your meetings, like we talked about earlier with Dina. Like, here's how you're going to do this meeting that you're about to do, and then because it's so short, come back and tell us how it went. And we'll coach you through those pitfalls and challenges, and then we will celebrate, but also more importantly, study wins, so we can all learn why did this work and is that replicatable. This is the platform we use called Remo, and there's Umrish as well. And so it's a really kind of fancy little, you'll see another screenshot here. It's sort of a fancy, cool little place where we can all meet together and ask questions and engage, which brings us to the community. So we have both a LinkedIn group and a Facebook group where you guys can engage with each other, engage with us. It's interesting. I didn't even realize this until now, Mara. We have Aaliyah Conte down here who we set up with Rock Autism, and we ended up having 50, 60 of the decision maker meeting members came out to her big old event.
It was Aaliyah's first event in Los Angeles. She's based in Buffalo. She has a nonprofit called Rock Autism. And I knew that I flew out from New York, and 50 people in our community from Los Angeles came out to her event. So this is a community that we actually care about each other and each other's work.
So this is another screenshot from Remo before and after sort of the official training part. We have kind of this virtual yacht sort of hangout place where you can bounce around to different tables and network in real time and engage real time and help each other out. And as you can see, we hang out there too. Yeah, so it's a dynamic, supportive community of global filmmakers and artists and decision makers now. We're all working filmmakers. We're facing the same stuff. really the difference is just that now we have this team of mentors who are around to help us accelerate solutions and find solutions. So we also have some bonuses, as I've kind of alluded to. We're not going to be doing this again, not in this way, and definitely not at the price, which we'll get to. So we've got some extras. We're going to be creating some new modules. You get early access to this. We're doing some extra time of small group training. The personal guidance that's there to help you make a ton of meetings. That's something that this will kind of be the last time we spend as much one-on-one time there. VIP matchmaking. So, weirdly, because we've connected so many filmmakers to decision makers, our target audience, if you will, has been filmmakers, but now decision makers are finding us to help them find filmmakers. So now it's going the other direction. We have kind of an interesting Rolodex now of people that we can connect our clients with once we've sort of gotten to know them and gotten to know the projects and in a way sort of vetted them. We will do a detailed profile review of your LinkedIn profile so that, again, it's perfect. It's exactly what it needs to be. We've created checklists and worksheets so that you don't have to spend time figuring out plans and steps and checklists for yourself. You can just do it. We've got message templates so that you know what to say, how to respond, what they say to you. We do this for the meeting. We'll talk about the actual getting the meeting message today. We've got ongoing support. So, if you've got an email or a question or concern, you can always reach out to us. Even though we've become more and more busy, we always have time on the calendar set aside to support our people. And then one thing that's really new and cool is that Umrish, who's here, Umrish will bring you on down when we get into the Q&A, but he is this brilliant strategist. He came to us as a client and then just quickly kind of showed himself to have sort of this perfect creative mind. Like I said, he's got production houses, animation houses in India and South Africa. So he's, executive producer who is also a brilliant human being and a wonderful, kind human being and a brilliant strategist. And he will help get your specific project in front of potential decision makers, both in-house and whatever contacts it is that you have. So that's a call. That's like a one-on-one call with Umrish. So quick recap. I'm going to move this little piece here because I can't bloody see. So the promise is that you will book meetings. We have a 100% success rate with industry decision makers who can fast track your career. The proof of that is that we've just done it a bunch of times. I didn't update it. So we're at 323, you said. I'll have to change that.
Yeah.
Thousands of meetings, right? The payoff being that you can start booking meetings and making connections in as little as 2 weeks. I mean, we've had people literally do it after this call, but let's be realistic. 2 weeks of hard work, you can start doing this. And in less than a month, kind of be a master at all this stuff. The process, guys, this is not hard. You're going to build these relationships with professionalism, integrity, authenticity, confidence while you're playing around on the internet. I mean, for some of you who are high level execs too, your assistant can do this. A lot of the just day-to-day work for you. This is not a hard thing to do. So how much is it? You can enroll for $59,000. I'm kidding. We're not doing that. I got that number though, because I saw this article and it blew my mind. So USC, that's tuition for a year. And they were doing that during the pandemic where everybody's films were made on iPhones. And I literally thought, oh my God, you could spend $60,000, make some iPhone home movies and actually still not have the relationships that you need to actually have a career. You'll have the best education, academic education for filmmaking you could have, but still not the thing that gets you from being a person with creative ideas and talent to being a person who gets paid for that. So it's not that. It's $997 for all this. $997 for the next 6 weeks. So how do I enroll? What you do? I mean, I'm not even spending time justifying. I mean, that the reason we're changing this is because it's a lot that you guys are getting in a lot of one-on-one time. And so for those of you that makes sense, you know why that makes sense. So text your name and I'm in to Mara's personal cell phone number right there. This is her actual cell phone number. And so she's not going to respond for a bit because she's doing a webinar right now. But throughout tonight, she will respond to that. And you can text and say I'm in, because this is all about a relationship business anyway. Yes, we could have thrown out a sales link, but we'd much rather, again, if you're interested, you reach out to us rather than us just bombard you with links and that kind of stuff. Couple of quick important things. Enrollment is going to close Sunday night. I hate like arbitrary deadlines. This is not arbitrary. Starting Monday, we're going to start like looking at people's profiles and getting people onboarded and getting them all their sign up stuff. And, just the work of managing. I mean, the last time we had an audience of this size, we had like, I think 100 enrollees. So, a lot of work to take care of those people. So that is the deadline. You got plenty of time to go think about this, talk with people and so forth. Do know though, that this is our last 997 session ever. Like I was saying earlier, we've got this success rate and our personal availability is going down because we now have like development pipelines that we're in charge of. Like, it kind of worked for us too. Like now the decision makers are really wanting us to be a part of their world. And so we have to either scale up the price or scale down the amount of time that we can personally contribute. And so if we even do this again, it will either not be at this price. We're thinking we might go high ticket, or we won't be able to offer the personal connection. It'll just be a course kind of idea. So again, if you're interested, you can go text your name and I'm in to.
Pretty cool. And people in the chat are asking about other successes. So you guys go stalk me. Go check out my LinkedIn if you want to see, would like to see.
Yeah, Amrish, if you're listening, can you post Mara's LinkedIn?
Yeah,
so they can go down
to my LinkedIn, and at the very bottom, you'll see lots of people that have taken the class, and you can see those wins. They're right there. I'm very transparent.
Yeah, and we'll
very transparent.
As we get into Q&A too, I'll put that information back up there.
Yeah.
One final piece, and this is kind of special. I may actually even edit this out of the replay. This is because this is really only going to be for you guys for today.
Yeah.
So because this is it, and we're not going to do this again. Mara and I talked, and in the past we've done like something similar, but never like this. We've decided that anybody who wants to enroll today, like if this is your jam, you're ready to rock and roll, you're champing at the bit, we don't want anybody to feel pressured, so everybody can go decide until Sunday. But for those of you who are ready and you know that this is something that you want, you can see how having some professionals there to walk you through this path gets you these results that you want quickly. We want to incentivize that basically. And so here's the incentive. Mara will give 2 one-on-one strategy calls. We've in the past offered 1 sometimes, but Mara's going to do 2. She charges usually between $300-500 an hour when you're doing like consulting stuff. So
yeah,
that's kind of that range. We still kind of, sorry, you don't know us yet, which is okay, but you'll see how much personal time we normally give. So for us, it's kind of like, I can't believe we're doing this. So 2 calls with Mara, and then 2 calls with me, which we've never done.
We've never done this before.
Because I run a couple of different companies and never have time. So 2 calls with me. We can, I'd love to focus on crowdfunding, maybe some equity finance stuff, and marketing. So with Mara, you've got the strategy, you've got the big picture stuff, and executable actions for that. You got 2 calls there with her. With me, you've got 2 calls about marketing and branding, social media, that kind of piece of it as well. Yeah, and if you look on my websites, you will see how much
it's crazy. If you guys go check out Justin, like I've never actually in a year got Justin to fork over calls with him because he's so busy, right? And the reason that we're doing this is that we're both going on hiatus this summer. I was like, Justin, like let's go on hiatus. And I'm turning all my emails over to a bot for about 6 weeks of summer. So we thought we'd have a lot of